that? I can change it if you want.
No, it's fine. I want to talk about it. I want to address it, and I have never fucking seen that photo.
Yeah. Okay.
God, I wish I'd been standing up straighter. There's a lot of issues.
Well, you're in the midst of a walk.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So that's going through. All right. Let's scoot a little this way. Actually, back, I guess, works. And then let me record the audio. You ready for this?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Double record. Hey, everybody, this is Sam Proof from... Wow, that's really loud. Let's bring that down a little. Yeah, that looks better visually. Okay. Hey, everybody, this is Sam Proof from CraveOnline.com's Comedy Crack podcast. Today, joining me from a litany of titles. You have Big Bang Theory,
Sure.
The Progressive ad campaign.
I did a Progressive commercial
You were in like
with
3.
Flo.
Wasn't there a couple commercials? Oh, what was the one with the sock puppet?
That was for the Ford Focus.
Oh shoot.
No, it's okay. It's insurance related, being that it's for a car.
Yeah. That
I did. I did several dozen of the
right.
Ford Focus commercials.
And Upright Citizens Brigade, and the list goes on. John Ross Bowie.
Hi, hello.
Hey.
Hi. Thanks for having me, Sam.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here.
Oh, good to be here.
Yeah, because you're like one of the, in my eyes, one of like the harder catches. You know, like I've had a variety of people from UCB and YouTube, and
the only thing I think makes me hard to book is my kids.
Well, yeah.
Honestly, it's not like I'm so in demand. Like, oh, Bowie's always working overseas. You know, he's in. You know, he's on the short list for the next Bond. It's just that I have kids, and it's hard to schedule around.
Are you on the short list for the next Bond?
You didn't hear it from me.
Okay. No, but I think you're a good catch because you were very influential to me in my comedy. No, well, yeah, I mean, you know, I studied under you for a little bit,
I remember it was fun having you in class.
Yeah, and I thought it was one of the better classes. I mean,
that's nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Merritt's Fight Club, where we had to fight each other to, bloody pulps, was good too. But
you get a lot that way.
Yeah,
you get a lot out of that class.
Yeah.
You get a lot out of that class. Out of being jumped into the improv community, I think you get a great deal.
Right.
I like teaching, and it's funny, when I actually studied to be, before I became an actor, I studied to be a high school teacher, and that's what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. And I went to college to be a high school teacher. I did my student teaching, and then I taught for 1 year at the New York City school system. I went actually back to my old high school and taught there. So what's fun about improv class is that it's everything I liked about teaching, but very few of the disciplinary problems.
Right.
It's just people who want to be there and want to laugh once a week. So I broke up 0 fights while I was teaching improv, which was nice.
Well, and you don't have to deal with all the weird government-based academic.
Yeah, there is no there is no race to the top in improv. It's just sort of a race to the middle, and you're really not going to make a living off of this anyway. So.
Right. If you don't have 90% of your students performing a Herald by the end of the final,
yeah, I was not held to that to those unreasonable standards. No, there is no improviser left behind.
Are you currently on any improv teams?
I haven't done a show in a while. That second kid has really taken the fight out of me. I do occasional little pickup shows here and there, and I'll occasionally come in and play an ASCAT in LA.
Cool.
I'll do little one-off bits. I got to sit in with Convoy
that's
a couple
awesome.
months ago, which was a delight. I love those guys. They're so...
That would have been an interesting show to see.
It was an interesting show, yeah. And I'd coached them, so that was the only... I'd never performed with them before, but I'd coached them, and I kind of knew what they did. And I guess Alex Berg was out of town, so I played with Fernie and Todd, and it was a total blast. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I improvise periodically. Neither my wife or I perform much lately, just because the kids are going to get up. The kids are going to get up at 6:30, no matter what you have done the night before. They do not care that you did Tuesday Night Thunder and we're out till 12:30. They are going to be up at 6:30. So. These are all really local references, by the way. If you're not within the confines of Los Angeles County, I apologize. Because we are leaving you behind. We are leaving children behind.
But you should just get up and move to Los Angeles so this all makes sense to you.
If you want to work in migrant labor, this is the town where you should be.
Yeah, well, that's good. How old are your kids now?
The kids are 5 and almost 3.
Okay.
I really caution you about asking too much, because I don't think in your heart of hearts you give a shit. And that's fine. That's fine. I just...
Well, no, my wife is actually a preschool teacher. So,
oh, really? Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I've lost my will to give a shit at some point. But no, I'm just... what is that, first grade and kindergarten?
No, it's preschool and kindergarten. The little one just started preschool, and my daughter, the 5-year-old, just started kindergarten. And and it's great. They're having a really good time. Here's all you need to know about child rearing. My wife and I alternate who gets up with the kids in the morning. I get up. One morning, this is about 6-8 months ago, the kids are in a mood. They're fighting with each other. They're bickering over dumb shit. I make them French toast. It's not good enough. They're going absolutely crazy. They can't agree with what TV show they want to watch, and we watch just a little bit of educational TV, the finer things. In the morning, it's utter pandemonium. Finally, around 7:30, 7:45, my wife gets up. I go, listen, I need a moment. I just need to take a dump. That's all I need. I go in, I sit down, I've got a second to myself, and my daughter comes in while I'm in the middle of the most heinous 3-coffee shit I've had in my life. My daughter holds my face and goes, "You're beautiful to me, Daddy." And that's parenthood in a nutshell. I can tell you nothing else. That's all you need to know about what it is like to be a parent. It is just inconveniently beautiful all the time. That's where it is.
That's pretty awesome. Huh. Do you find a lot of humor in your kids? Has that happened yet?
You know, it's weird. Yeah, they are starting to get deliberately funny. I mean, your kids are funny right out of the gate anyway, because they're fucking stupid and they bump into shit all the time. So that's automatically funny.
But now they're in like the knock-knock phase.
They're in like weird knock-knock. God, my daughter wrote a joke. She wrote a really... this was it. She wrote a stoner joke, basically. It's not a joke about pot, but it's a joke that stoners would find funny.
Okay.
And her joke was, why is salt salty?
Why?
Because it's salt.
Okay.
I was like...
Awesome.
I was like, am I sitting in a dorm room at Ithaca with a towel stuffed under the door so the RA won't smell what's going on in here? It was such a surrealist, dopey-ass joke. But that's kind of where that's the level she's operating at right now. I know that guy.
Which one?
Figs Rock.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hey,
Thanks for joining us.
Well, cool.
You're at work right now. I know for a fact you're at work.
We should do something completely unwork safe.
I'm going to scream the N-word, so if you're not listening on headphones, you're going to get fired like that.
Awesome.
I'm kidding. You won't get fired. I think you work on the same floor as Glenn Beck. You used to. Hi, Steve.
Awesome. So you mentioned Ithaca. Is that where you went to school?
It is, actually, yes.
Really? Okay.
It is with Steve, actually.
Oh, very cool.
This is just the me and Steve hour.
Sweet. Oh, that'll be easy for me. I won't have to ask him.
Great. Yeah, I went to Ithaca College.
And at the time, you were studying to be a teacher.
Yeah.
When did you make the switch to comedy? What was the pinnacle moment?
It's really pretty cliche, but what happened was I taught high school for a year. I got laid off at the end of that academic year with all the first-year teachers. We all just got sent our walking papers. So I went out and I temped for a while, and I was in a band for several years, and that was really fun. It was a total money suck, and when the band broke up, all I had left was my day job. And I totally lost my shit. I had a complete fucking oh my God, I'm a copywriter at Price Waterhouse. How did this happen? and my friend Andy Secunda, who went to Ithaca, suggested that I try improv classes. And now that I was no longer spending money on van rental and new strings and amp repair, I had a little disposable income. I started taking improv classes, and I got my first laugh on my first day of class. This is May of 1998.
Wow. And
I was like, that's it. I'm clearly going to do this for the rest of my life. And I quit the job. I ended up moving back in with my mom. I got headshots. And about a year later, I started working steadily as an actor. So it was it was a little late in the game. I was 28.
Right.
27.
Yeah.
So it's later than a lot of people get into acting.
Sure. It's sad that 28, 27 is late.
I know, you're totally over the hill at that point. But it was a good time in some ways, because I there's also people who are washed up by 28.
Yeah.
You know, and I was.
But then again, you have people like Phil Hartman who got into the game close to 40.
You know, when Phil Hartman died, I had been taking improv class for like 2 months, and I remember exactly where I was at an evening meeting at Price Waterhouse, and my then girlfriend called me to tell me that Phil Hartman had died, and I started crying.
Yeah,
it was a
honestly,
fucking shambles.
Yeah, he was one of the few celebrity things that hit me harder than like the towers falling.
It was so sudden.
And horrible.
First off, wow. And secondly, it was so sudden, and also exactly what you said. He'd started at Groundlings at like 32. And you can imagine what it must have been like, looking like Phil Hartman, being like 32, surrounded by people who just dropped out of UCLA, just saying they're the oldest guy in that class by 10 years probably, and just the balls that took. Because he was like a successful commercial illustrator for most of his 20s. He did like album covers and stuff, and then he decided, no, fuck this, I want to do comedy, I want to act. Yeah, that was a huge loss. You know what I miss? I miss, and you can't find it on YouTube or anywhere, unless somebody wants to send us a link.
Oh, yeah.
Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer. Do you remember Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer? It was a thing he did on SNL.
Yeah.
And Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer was an unfrozen caveman who'd gotten his law degree and was a plain-spoken guy who didn't understand your strange ways and your crazy flying machines. But I do know we need an end to the capital gains tax. And he was this Republican who was trying so hard to be a man of the people that he was an unfrozen caveman, and he basically paved the way for Sarah Palin.
Well, it was kind of a playoff, like the Tennessee Williams style lawyer in a sense, I think.
There was a little bit of like the southern
highfalutin.
Yes, exactly. There was a little bit of that. I'm not much for your fancy book learning, but I do got some common sense. It was the exact game, and it was so smart. That was like the thing that's probably the thing I missed the most of it. And Hulu doesn't have it, or it's so weird. And it's my favorite stuff from that era is Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. Okay. Drug talk in the chat room, of course.
Anyone want to drop a heavy dose of mescaline with me tomorrow? Now, by heavy, what do you mean?
This could take a while for the answer.
Do you think Bassmaster #1 is not going to get back to us too soon? No? Okay.
Oh, 4 feet of San Pedro.
4 feet of San Pedro. Oh, so this is a couple things I did not know, that mescaline is measured in feet. And that San Pedro is a Pedro. Pedro, they prefer Pedro, don't they?
That's a different brand.
Okay. Yeah. 4 feet of San Pedro. I'm in. I'm in. You know what? I got to drop off my kid at her Jewish day school around 9 o'clock, but if you're good after that, I'm open. Maybe we'll just wait in the parking lot. We'll do mescaline in the parking lot of my kid's children's day school. How's that sound? All right?
Sweet. Okay, let's get back to some things. So, recently you did Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Right?
I've done a few of those, yeah.
Has that been like the biggest thing to push you in the new direction of
You know, it's been the short answer is yes. I think it's opened up a lot of opportunities. It gets me. It is the thing for which I am most commonly recognized.
Right. Yeah.
I had to get my iPhone fixed yesterday, and I went to the Apple store at the Beverly Center, which is a popular mall here in Los Angeles. And one of the guys who helped me out alternated between calling me John and calling me Kripke, which is the character's name, and didn't even realize he was doing it.
Oh, wow.
He would just be like, go to his manager, like, yeah, Kripke's having a problem with his display. And I was like, okay, that's weird. Is this like one of those things where like everybody had to call Val Kilmer Jim while he was doing the doors? Is it like that? Because it's fine if it is. That's not part of my process, but I'm open to it. Yeah, it is the thing for which I'm most commonly recognized.
And you showed up wearing gym shorts. No,
yes. But yeah, it's a fun part because it's the villain on a sitcom, which is a kind of an unusual thing.
Yeah.
And I think the closest parallel, and I don't mean to put myself in his hallowed company, but the closest parallel is probably Wayne Knight as Newman in Seinfeld.
Sure. No, yeah, I think that's...
Like an incredibly obnoxious antagonist of the lead. The lead who also has his issues.
Yeah, because it's an antagonist who could very well have been an antagonist that could have been the protagonist. They're very similar in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Whereas Newman and Seinfeld are very similar in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
It's not a Batman Joker type scenario where it's like you know, he's obsessed with
justice,
this thing.
anarchy. Yeah, no, it's not. It's a little bit more like, and again, I flatter myself, but there's something along the lines of a Bond villain in Kripke, in that he is just as much of a genius as our hero.
Yes.
He's just a complete dick, and is bent on being a dick all the time. But it's been a really fun gig. I only do like. It's funny, the character is so obnoxious, and the character has been, and the show's been syndicated now for about 1.5 years, that people think I've been on it more than I actually have. I have done 8 episodes of the show, but people think I'm on it much more often because the character makes such an awful impression.
Are you? Do you know if you're going back?
I never know. I mean, I imagine.
Right.
Since I started, I've been on once or twice a season. Yeah. But it's anybody's guess. I'm assuming they'll need me at some point.
Right.
But it's anybody's guess. It's opened up a bunch of other things, so I can't really. I think it's probably made things a little easier. Yeah. In that I can walk into an audition and like, oh, if this guy can hold the fort. If he can hold his own on Big Bang Theory, then we can probably have him on our show. Right. And it probably gives me a little bit of an edge.
Sure.
And there's been a couple teeny little roles here and there that I haven't had to audition for, which is nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's just, you know, not that I don't really mind auditioning that much, but it's lovely to get to skip that a little bit.
Yeah,
even if it's just like, hey, we have 4 lines for you on the X's. I'm like, I'll take it.
It's kind of a nerve-wracking process of...
It
Put yourself out there.
It is a little bit of a nerve-wracking process. I don't know necessarily how else they would do it.
Right.
Like, I don't know what the alternative would be. And if we didn't audition, we would never find new people.
Sure.
So, so I think it's a necessary evil.
Right. Is there anything coming up that people should look for that's... You know, that you
right now, as of this morning, last I've heard, I am still in the next Sandra Bullock movie.
Really?
I'm in right now. I think it's called The Heat. It's Sandra Bullock, Melissa McCarthy, Paul Feig directing. Out next summer.
Awesome.
Role as an FBI agent. And by the way, it would take Paul Feig, the man who created Freaks and Geeks, to look at me and go, "Oh, that's my FBI agent." Yeah. Nobody else sees me and goes, "Oh, law enforcement." But
no, but now that you've said it, I totally can get behind that.
Bless your heart. I had a very short haircut at the time, so I had that going for me. But yeah, so I think I'm kind of for. I don't do a lot of movies, but when I do movies, I have the good fortune of getting that part that is crucial to the plot. Yeah. Whether it's funny or not, it's this one scene that you need to have, or else the rest of the movie.
So they can't cut it.
I might be kind of cut-proof in this particular scene. It's kind of like I have that moment where, like, Sandra Bullock, listen to me, or Act 2 won't make any sense. Like, that's kind of my job in this movie. So hopefully they won't just fix that with voiceover, and I'll still be in it when it comes out next summer.
John Ross Bowie, starring in M. Night Shyamalan's Uncuttable.
That's me. Yeah. That's me.
Is there, so you've got this FBI part, is there, like, a part that you've never been cast for that you would love to play?
Oh, huh.
Or just in general, even if you have in the past.
Never been cast for, but that I would love to play. You know what I would love to have as a steady gig? What I think would be really fun? I'd love to be the lab guy on a procedural.
Oh, yeah?
I'd love to be, like, the guy, like, oh, well, I guess we got to go down and talk to Norman down in the lab, and, like, they cut to me, and I'm looking into a microscope, and I look up, and I rattle off a string of technical jargon, and the really good-looking main cop kind of rolls his eyes at me and his equally good-looking female partner, and I'm the butt of jokes for 5 minutes, and then I cash a check and go buy a Chevy Volt. That's kind of my dream role. If I had a steady gig, I'm all for art, but I would love to be, like, the guy who has 1 or 2 scenes on, you know, CSI London or whatever, and, like, that's my gig. I've done a lot of, I was talking to my wife. I talk to my wife a lot, because I live with her. I was talking to her about going out for, because I've done 2 out of the 3 CSIs. I've done Bones. I've done, a lot of those, like...
What was your role in Bones?
It was just last season. Okay. I was a executive at a toy company who was suspected of killing his coworker, and I believe at the end of the episode it turns out to be Morgan Fairchild. So it's either me or Morgan Fairchild.
Okay.
Just that's a general trend in my life. But the thing about Bones and a lot of these things is I get the role where they come to me in the first 15 minutes, and I can't tell you how many times I've auditioned with the line, "Wait, you guys think I killed her?"
Right.
Because that's like my go-to thing. It's like the first 15 minutes they check with me to see if I'm a legitimate suspect, and they go, "No, it's obviously not this idiot. He can't even tie his shoes." And then they move on and they find the real killer.
Right.
And there was one time on Monk when I actually was the killer.
Hey.
Yeah, I killed a hooker on Monk.
Well, on Monk, yeah.
So that was pretty exciting. But most of the time, I'm just the red herring. And if it turns out that I am the killer, then the show's over in 15 minutes. So I'm obviously not the killer. But it's a lot. I've spent a big chunk of my audition time being like, guys, why would I have killed Jennifer? That's like my Sybil, Esther, whatever it is. I'm always the guy who has no reason to have killed, but it really looks like he probably killed her.
Can you just record that and be like, oh,
I should just turn in. I should just have like a little MP4 of me going, "You guys think I killed her?" Because I'm always looking up. I'm always sitting at a table looking up at who's interrogating me. "You guys think I killed her?" And I should just have that. I've got a single light bulb. I should just turn that in anytime I have to audition for procedural.
Oh, it's one of those? Here
like,
you go.
This is my boilerplate, you know. And then the other thing I've done a lot is the montage of how hard it is to be a single woman. I'm the guy who, and I'm this total loser who they've been set up on a blind date with me and the beautiful woman.
I see.
And I've got some awful personality quirk, and I'm dressed horribly, and that's how this person knows that. God, it's hard to be a single lady out there. Mm-hmm. Am I right, girls? Those are the two roles that I tend to gravitate towards.
Have you played a furry?
I have not played a furry, no. I played a foot fetishist.
That was probably going to be on my list of guesses.
Yeah, I played a foot fetishist, and I had a whole, on the show House of Lies, Showtime show with Kristen Bell.
Is that the one Ben Schwartz is on?
Yeah, Ben Schwartz, Don Cheadle. Schwartz is great on that show.
Oh, he's great in it.
He is. He's a really good actor. And Kristen Bell was a delight, which is a really good thing because I spent a whole morning with her foot in my mouth. Oh. And sucking on her toes and stuff, which was... Which
one of you gets the pay bump in that scenario?
Neither of us, but because one, it's no huge chore putting Kristen Bell's foot in your mouth, and two, I'm great at sucking toes, it turns out. So we both had a great morning. But they treated it like a sex scene. Not that I've ever been in a sex scene. Not that anyone wants to see that. But they did a thing where they closed the set. Yeah, it was just like the bare necessity. Like you hear about like whenever Angelina Jolie has to do a sex scene, and they have to, like, all the union guys have to step outside. Right. They have to make it really just like director. So all it was director, cameraman, and the woman who was in charge of washing Kristen Bell's feet. And they had a PA whose sole job it was to keep Kristen Bell's feet clean so I could then put them in my mouth.
Wow.
That scene is available on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
And it is followed by arguably the creepiest comment thread I have ever been a part of.
Oh, yeah.
It is icky, icky, icky. Happy hunting.
I would imagine so. Did having it as a closed set make it more comfortable or a little weirder?
It ultimately made it more comfortable because you don't want anybody in your eye line while you have a mouthful of foot. My friend Steve would like me to know that his aunt enjoyed me as the hooker killer, which is nice. I'm glad your aunt enjoyed that, you know, because I can't tell you how many people's aunts enjoyed me on Monk. Just generally speaking, it's a big aunt show. The aunts come out for Tony Shalhoub. I think it is. They like an aunt over there.
Okay. That's very weird. What kind of stuff do you watch these days?
I've been watching a lot of hour-long dramas, actually. Mm-hmm. I like Homeland, although, man, they've painted themselves into a corner.
I haven't seen that yet.
Homeland is...
Apparently I have to.
Well, Homeland's a great show. It's a great actors show. Everyone on the show is really, really good. Mm-hmm. But there's weird little things, little tiny things. And I was watching it with my wife, and I was talking about it with my wife.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody other than my wife. And my wife and I were talking about it, and there's a scene, and I'm not giving anything away, but somebody had to send a text from inside the Pentagon, And my wife and I were like, we can't get service inside Silver Lake Coffee. Can you get service inside the Pentagon? And sure enough, the next day, Slate magazine published something where like a guy who used to work for the State Department was like, you can't get service in the Pentagon. They don't want you to get service in the Pentagon. Yeah, right. You don't get an outside line in the Pentagon. You're especially not in the particular situation room they were in. So there's all sorts of weird little jumps in logic like that.
Sure.
But it's still entertaining, and you know, it's nice to have Claire Danes back on TV. I think she's really talented. What else do I watch? I still like 30 Rock. Have you watched 30 Rock this year at all? I think there's only been one. No. 30 Rock is a Viking funeral this year. 30 Rock knows it's just its last year, and their ratings have never been that good, so they are just setting the boat on fire and cruising to Valhalla. They don't give a shit who gets their jokes. It's really inside baseball. It's really funny and surreal. Yeah. Revolution's good.
Oh, yeah, I've been watching that, and I like it and hate it at the same time.
Okay.
I have a lot of issues with it, like... It's been 15 years since anyone has created a new wife beater, and yet the one she's wearing is like pristine and like right out of the package.
I mean,
like,
well, there's always going to be
elements like that.
And, there's always going to be that. I mean, you know, everyone was way too tidy on Lost as well.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the show to which I think it owes the biggest debt. But yeah, there's a lot of things like, I mean, just how's everyone shaving and
exactly,
you know, little things,
doing their hair, and you know,
and yes, things are a little too tidy, I will grant you. But it's enjoyable, and there's a sword fight in every episode.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, fun. The post-apocalypse genre is by far my favorite thing ever. So.
Mine too. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Yeah. Pretty much you end the world and you have my attention.
Yes.
And there's nowhere to go but down after that. I'm in.
Did you ever see the series? I'm going to say it was on A&E, but it was called Life After People. It was like
no, that actually freaks me out. Yeah. I remember somebody recommended it to me, and I watched like 5 minutes of you know, weeds overcoming my native New York. And like, boo, scary. And I'm all for Road Warrior and shit because that still has an element of fantasy to it. And that was just like, no, that looks like it could happen. I can't cope at all. So no. Short answer is no.
Right. Yeah. See, I watched a lot of those, so I'm always like comparing things like, well, according to Life After People, this wouldn't happen in 50, you know.
Our friend Bisante would like to add that The Walking Dead is the best show on television. Yeah. I am inclined to agree with you.
It's a very good show.
I do like that show quite a bit. There was one episode last year that was a perfect mix of zombie mayhem and existential crisis, which is where that show has to walk that line the whole time or it loses me. It's got to be like one half aim for the head and one half what does it mean to be human now? You know. But yeah, I was at the movies last week, and at the movie theater next to where I was, they were doing the Walking Dead premiere. Ooh. They were premiering season 3, and there was a red carpet, and I saw Carl walking down the red carpet, and I screamed, "Get in the house! Get in the house, Carl!" And he didn't hear me, but the cops who were nearby heard me, and they thought it was funny.
Well, that's good, because the other response to that would have been bad.
The other response
is that a threat?
Me.
You tell him to get in the house?
This is the LAPD we're talking about. I took my life in my hands there.
Everybody, get Kripke.
Aim for the head. Pop, pop.
Yeah, Walking Dead's a really good show, although I would argue that...
But here's my question, though. The Walking Dead is the best show on television, LOL. Really?
Right.
You're laughing out loud?
We can see him. Clearly not laughing out loud.
Oh, is that him? That is him.
He is smiling, very big, but no, he's not laughing out loud.
He's smiling, he's sitting there in a hoodie,
okay,
now he's laughing,
now
he's on cue a little bit. He looks like he's waiting for his school shooting guns to arrive.
Oh, God.
He's got a black hoodie, sitting there kind of stoically in front of the TV, in front of his computer. Yeah, that, I salute you, Trenchcoat Mafia. Take care of yourself. Thank you for taking off the hoodie. I appreciate it.
Yes, this is a formal podcast. I would argue that Breaking Bad is the best show on
Breaking Bad's really good, yeah.
Which also has that same actor from Revolution in it. Or did.
Giancarlo Esposito, yeah. Bugging out from Do the Right Thing if you're in your 40s. How are you?
Wow, yeah.
But yeah, Giancarlo Esposito is great in everything.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's one of those guys who does a whole lot with very little. You know, he works very quietly, and he just kind of lets the camera come to him. Yep. And not to get all inside the actor's studio, but he's just a fun actor to watch because he never overdoes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's badass.
Yeah, well, weird reference because I was going to ask you your favorite curse word next. No, I'm just kidding. But now...
Probably fuck for its diversity.
I was kidding. But, yeah, you can
I have all those answers ready. I'm saving them for James Lipton, but I do have all of them. So when James Lipton comes calling... But when he does, I am ready for you, Jim.
We'll set that up.
Would you? Yeah. Could you do that? Make a call, Sam. Thank you.
All right. I'm on that. Do you have specific comedic influences, like movie-wise or movie-wise or TV-wise?
Yeah, I do definitely. I talked about this on another podcast, but in a different sense. I'm a huge fan of Animal House, which I know dates me a little bit, but what I like about Animal House and why I prefer Animal House to there's people who really love Caddyshack, or there's people who really love Stripes, or
Stripes
what
is
have
really
you.
good.
Stripes is good, certainly, but Animal House I feel is it's really well directed. It looks really good, and it's actually. Even though it ends with like literally women being catapulted through the air into people's, the getting up to those last 20 minutes is this very subtle satire of like how America is just a big college campus, and these are the cliques that exist on that campus, and these are how they don't really work together. So just I like the really quiet moments in Animal House where, like, the president of the fraternity comes in and goes, the guys at the Jewish house just saw our test results. Quiet little stuff like that always makes me laugh. It was a favorite movie of my dad's, and we used to watch it together a lot. So Animal House, not so much Belushi in that movie, but like Peter Riegert and Tim Matheson and Tom Hulse and those guys who do like the sort of quieter straight man stuff in that movie. They always really, really make me laugh, and I have that DVD and I break it out occasionally. And
I was going to ask, when was the last time you watched it?
I think it was right before my daughter was born. It's like 5 years ago. It's been a while. I should break out. I should break that out again.
Yeah.
I loved a lot of the sitcoms of the 70s and 80s, like the late 70s, early 80s. Like my writing partner and I are always talking about Taxi, because we're both. My partner's a guy named Kevin Sussman, who's also on Big Bang Theory, and he's a very recognizable that guy. But we love Taxi because Taxi took a guy like Judd Hirsch and said, "That's our leading man," which nobody would ever do since. And so, and he was terrific on the show, too. Everyone on that show was really good, like WKRP in Cincinnati a lot.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And then lately, what's really, how about In Living Color? Yeah, I dug In Living Color. I was really busy in college while In Living Color was on. Again, I've outed myself as being in my 40s. There's no point in hiding that anymore. I dug In Living Color, certainly. By the way, Bassmaster 1 is still talking to me about drugs, which is fine, but just take it easy, man, okay?
Because we're worried about your health.
I am a little worried. But yeah, I dug In Living Color. I obviously loved some of the work that Jim Carrey did on that show. And I went to high school with Sean Wayans, who was the DJ.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was from New York as well. Oh. And so Sean is in my yearbook.
Oh.
Which means he's also 41, so take that!
Wow.
Yeah!
But he franchised. Anyway.
He did. Well, that family is a friend. Every time they rolled out one of their 18 children, and they all went to different high schools, which was weird. They occupied the entire island of Manhattan. None of them, they all lived on the Lower East Side, but they all went to different high schools depending on their mood, I guess.
Interesting. Kind of an Alexander the Great approach.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so I think actually if you talk to anybody who went to high school in the 80s in Manhattan, all of us had a Wayans in our class. Yeah, one of the Wayans showed up. Marlon was up at LaGuardia. Keenan went to Seward Park. They went spread all over the island of Manhattan. There was a Wayans in every garage.
Yeah. No, so you mentioned your writing partner. What kind of stuff are you guys writing?
We're working on a sitcom right now for CBS. We just sold a pitch.
Oh, awesome!
It's in a very early stages.
Sure,
There's a million things that can go wrong. We're we're excited. I'm sorry, Face Mask is telling me that mescaline is non-toxic and non-addictive.
I think he means the paper is non-toxic.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
And
just pace yourself.
Unless he had...
Just take it easy.
All right.
You don't have to just, you know, sometimes it is better to fade away than burn out. You know, just take it slow. And hydrate. My comedic influences. Yeah. So and then the guys I listened, like the comedy albums I listened to, I would listen to a lot of Carlin growing up. Yeah. I loved his timing. Carlin would do, like, the first George Carlin record I heard, my dad brought home AM/FM, which is one of his early long hair records. Yeah. And the first line on AM/FM goes something like, "I got fired in Vegas for saying shit in a town where the big game is called crap." And the way he engineered it, the way he delivers the line, I did not know that there was a game called crap. I barely knew what Vegas was, but it was the first time I really realized that you could just say something that sounded funny, and it would be funny. You could sell a joke, whether you understood the meaning behind it or not, you could sell it, and it taught me a lot about just timing and how you kind of can throw some jokes away and really hit some jokes hard, and the difference between that. So Carlin was actually a huge influence on me. Yeah.
His take on language is, I think.
Well, yeah, and he got more and more into that as he got older too. He became more of a linguist, and he has actually a really interesting bit on post-traumatic stress disorder.
I don't know
and how we stopped calling it shell-shocked.
Oh yeah,
and we had this new euphemism for it. It's actually really heartfelt and interesting.
Yeah.
I follow his daughter Kelly Carlin on Twitter. She's really interesting, and she does a lot of. She doesn't live in his shadow, but she pays homage and will occasionally post clips of his work. Sometimes it's kind of neat. Yeah.
What is she doing?
She's a writer. She's a writer as well, and I think she just wrote a memoir about growing up with her dad, who had struggled with drinking and stuff, and was not super dad, but was still an interesting and I think ultimately kind man. So yeah, he's a really interesting guy to read about.
Cool, that's always good to hear. Any other influences, people-wise?
Well, before I was in comedy, I worked in punk rock.
Oh, that's right.
Worked in punk rock. I had a punk rock career.
Are there any?
There are no punk rock careers.
Are there any MP3s or videos from that band?
Yeah, sure.
Really?
We have you can find out. We have an album on we were called Egghead, and we have an album on iTunes.
Okay.
And there's various videos on YouTube. Some videos that were taken by Figs Rock, who was following us this morning. There he is.
Worked in
punk rock. Fuck you, Steve. You know what? I was technically a professional musician in that it was my only source of income, even though it was nil.
Did you make any money in punk rock?
No, we barely broke even.
There
are people who do, but we were not among them.
There's
but
two people.
I bring that up in that the thing I liked about punk rock, and that I hope to bring into my acting, is there's an energy, but also a simplicity.
Yeah.
It's like, what has to be there? Do you need a string section? Probably not. Do you need a horn section? I don't think so. Keyboards? Probably not. Guitar, bass, and drums.
Yeah.
That's what has to be there. And again, this sounds wicked pretentious, but I think there's something to acting the way the Ramones sound.
Yes.
Like, it's energetic, it's direct, but it's not too overproduced. It's not too frilly. There's not a lot of bells and whistles.
Right.
So that's so I guess in a weird sort of non-direct way, that's been kind of influential. And also it also taught me, like, after you've taught high school and you've been in a punk rock band, you don't get stage fright anymore.
Yeah.
At all.
Right.
I mean, you maybe get butterflies, but those are like pretty much the two most hostile audiences you can face. There are a bunch of New York City public school students and a bunch of punk fans who are waiting for a much louder band to come out than yours. And if you can live through those two audiences, you're bulletproof.
Did you ever open for anyone people would know of?
We opened for punk rock stars. Stars within that world. So, like, the big bands we opened for were the Dickies.
Oh, sure.
The Dickies. That's right. We talked about this. Dickies were, San Fernando Valley legends. We opened for them in New York. We opened for We opened for actually a band called Discount. Now, Discount never really made it, but Allison went on to be in Dead Weather, right? And The Kills.
Right.
So we opened for her first band a couple times. They were great.
I think I have a Discount cassette somewhere.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Discount were really good. She's a terrific
mom's.
singer, and they were tight as hell. They were a really, really good band. So we opened for, we got to a point where we would be on the bill if one of like the semi-big touring bands came through town. Last time we played out was about three years ago. We were on a festival bill with like the Dead Milkmen and the Mr. T Experience. And
wait, 3 years ago?
Yeah, we still reunite occasionally.
With the Dead Milkmen were there?
Yeah.
Wow.
We were at a festival with the Dead Milkmen.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Although they were missing.
Dave Blood.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sad. Very sad. But so once in a great while we will be talked out of retirement and we'll do a reunion show, and
awesome.
We are and it's fun certainly, but it's a young man's game. So that was the other thing, is that the punk rock bands I listened to were the kind of funnier ones, like the Dickies, like the Dead Milkmen. So the transition from that to comedy was not a huge huge jump.
Was Egghead comedic punk rock though?
Yeah, we were.
Okay.
We didn't take ourselves too seriously, and one of our favorite songs. I didn't write it. Our guitarist wrote it. We had a song called "She's Coming Back," but just to get her stuff, which I was really proud of. I think that was the ethos of the band.
Nice.
And then after I had kids, we did a song, and you can find this online, called "My Daughter Can Fuck Up Your Daughter."
That's pretty good.
I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah.
It's a nice anthemic number.
Nice. Yeah, that's really good. Well, cool. Anything else that's coming up you want to put out there, or?
Actually, I was going to say no, but I do these weird videos for Soul Pancake on YouTube.
Okay.
Soul Pancake is a production company started by Rainn Wilson, plays Dwight on The Office.
Sure.
And he's trying to do these really interesting videos and websites that have to do with spirituality and life's big questions and stuff. And I've shot a couple of videos where I play God. And I think there's a link right here that my friend Steve just posted for us. That YouTube link is me playing God in my second of 2 God videos that I've done, and they're interesting, and they're respectful without being pious, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
They're like, I don't think you don't have to be religious to sort of enjoy these videos, and
if you are, it won't offend you?
Yeah,
right.
Well, it won't offend you. I have a friend who's in divinity school, and he's fine with it, so that's all I need to hear.
Not for
I'm
me.
super eclectic.
Yeah.
I got friends in divinity school, okay, so back it up. And also the comment section, the discussions are fascinating. Like, it's where I go on, I don't watch the video, I just read the stuff that people are writing about it, and it's intense, but it's not the usual kind of like bitchy, snarky, trolly talk.
It's not the same as the foot fetishists?
No, it's not as creepy as that at all. It's pretty respectful and interesting. So it's, it's pretty cool.
There is an interesting phenomenon of the YouTube culture where, you'll have that horrible thing on one video of just like terrible people saying terrible things, and then have an intelligent debate in somewhere else.
That's where we go. So you're honestly a really comprehensive Google search of me will find like the foot video from House of Lies, which is just a series of people saying either what they would do with Kristen Bell's feet,
right?
How I don't realize how lucky I am. A couple of creative spellings of my name.
Oh, that's weird.
And then some arguing about how to properly handle a foot when it's in your mouth. Then you go over here to the Soul Pancake videos, and it's people going, well, I think God is really more of a feeling than a guy, and it's night and day. It's really interesting.
Oh, that is
I love the internet. Hi, internet. All 6 of you.
Oh. Technically, there's actually...
who are we doing
see
here?
that number up there? That's all
Oh,
people
that's higher than I expected. I apologize. There's a bunch of you out there. Hello. This is a larger audience.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't say the N-word.
Well, cool.
Y'all should come out to Burning Man next year.
Yeah.
We should. Can I bring my kids?
I was just going to say, bring the babies. That would be fantastic. Cool. All right. You have URLs people can find you? You on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, John Ross Bowie at Twitter.
Okay.
The brand.
Yeah,
we had to clarify that because John Bowie, or John Bowie, plays for the NFL.
Yeah.
He's about 20 years my junior, 6'5", and an African American.
Right. Yeah. It was.
So put my middle name in there, or your Google search will confuse you.
Right. Both good hair, though.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. No, it's true. It's true. Where is my Afro pic?
Yeah. Too soon. Okay, so that's Twitter. Do you have a Facebook fan page? Anything like that?
I don't. I won't put one
YouTube
together.
channel
If somebody else wants to put out a Facebook
geez.
fan page, that's fine. I have just a little too much dignity to do it myself. I think there might be something out there, but I don't touch it. I have a Tumblr.
Oh.
Which is just my
what kind of stuff are you tumbling?
I'm tumbling.
Is it all promotional or just fun stuff that you find?
Some of it is promotional. Some of it is me ranting about politics, which I promise will get better after the election. I know, I know. I'm very hot-headed right now. And then, in order to appease the people I've offended politically, I'll post old pictures of Yvonne Craig as Batgirl. So, there's something for everybody. But
have you done research on the demographic that fits? Like,
I have no idea who is.
This will appease the red states.
I basically my Tumblr is really just to amuse me. I can't imagine somebody looking at my Tumblr and being like, I am interested in everything this guy has to say. If I find that person, I will marry you. I will leave my wife and I will marry you.
Wow.
But you need to be interested in leftist politics and horror movies and Stephen Sondheim. See, I lost you there, didn't I?
Jeez. Yeah. Get out. No.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that about the horror
movies.
Am
I on Reddit? No, I am not on Reddit. No, Reddit freaks me out a little bit. Talk about Bass Mesta is libertarian. Sorry. Suit yourself. That's absolutely fine. You can be
legitimate.
You can be libertarian.
Throw your vote away. No, I'm just kidding.
Do whatever you need.
I fully.
Did you know? I just got my ballot in the mail yesterday, and I knew that Roseanne Barr was running. Did you know that Cindy Sheehan was her running mate? Cindy Sheehan, the woman who lost a son in Iraq and then went and camped out in front of the. It's Barr Sheehan.
Wow. Yeah.
My point is,
I should really open that book.
Vote Barr Sheehan.
Yeah, I guess so. Cool. Well, thank you for joining me, John.
Such a pleasure.
And for everyone who's been watching or listening to the audio somewhere else, if you're not on craveonline.com, go there because I'll have posted below the podcast some of the links we talked about. Clearly, the foot fetish video. No, the God video and some of the other
foot fetish video. What's the harm?
Yeah, and if I can find some of the Egghead videos, I'll put one of those up and stuff like that. Yeah. All right, so this is Sam Proof from craveonline.com saying, you just got fixed. That's a drug thing.
Oh, yeah. All for you, Bassmaster.
There you go. Awesome. All right, I can stop this.
What fun!
Yeah, well, thank you.
What fun! What total fun. Oh, there's Fig Rock. He's beating you to it.
Oh, good. Fig Rock, if you have Twitter, tweet at Sam Proof with those links, because that would be awesome.
He does.
Because copying and pasting them from the Stickam room is not the easiest thing in the world. All right. John Bowie. See that. No, we didn't talk about the angry messenger bag
so find that link for me. That's fucking terrifying.
I think an easy Google image search did it. So, yeah.